What format works best for you on this? Because I just need quotes, so I know you're probably a little more needing to do it a specific way, like one player at a time, or what works best for you?
Yeah, well, I mean, whoever wants to chime in can chime in, but one talking at a time is.
Okay, cool. Well, I'll just start it out generally simply for Carlina, I guess, because you're the president. From what I read, this was kind of your brainchild and kind of your idea. How did it all kind of formulate and get to where we are today?
You're muted.
Yeah, you're on mute, Carl.
Thank you. Sorry, I've used Zoom before, believe it or not. Okay. But it started after I attended a Black Student Athlete Summit this last January. And at the summit, they do presentations each morning, and one of the presenters were two girls from Ohio State that were presenting this Black women student athlete group that they have on their campus called Sheroes. And so after the summit, I was continuously meeting with Nisha, trying to get an org like Sheroes onto Texas A&M campus. So originally the B.L.U.E.print started off as an idea just targeted at Black female student athletes. It wasn't until after George Floyd's murder and all of the racial injustice that has happened this summer and over the past couple months is when I thought it best to make it more of an inclusive for Black men and Black women, since we both are battling different stereotypes, different types of racism throughout society. I just thought it would be beneficial for everybody. And so that is where the idea stemmed from for B.L.U.E.print, and that's how we kind of turned from just females to males and females, and kind of blew up to what it is now.
I guess, oh, sorry, Travis.
No, go ahead.
Kind of piggybacking off of that then, obviously there's a lot of you in different sports now doing this, so how did you all come together? Like, how did you kind of find each other and start that conversation?
Yeah, so I think that Jean was supposed to come on the summit with us. So Jean was someone that I reached out to first, actually. I had heard her name come up a couple of times when talking with different staff members, such as Nisha, Joe, Amanda. So I reached out to Jean. So she was kind of with me in the beginning stages after Nisha and I kept figuring out like what direction we wanted to go in with everything. For Sierra, Casey, and Chase, I found them and I thought they were, they really impressed me after they had been talking a lot on different, Sierra and Chase had been on a lot of our student athlete forums that university would host, or any other ones that they would advertise that were hosted by other schools or other conferences. So Sierra would speak a lot in a lot of them. Chase would ask a lot of good questions, and so I felt they were two responsible, knowledgeable, passionate people to be a part of the project. And then lastly, KC was actually someone who also attended the summit with me in January, so he heard the presentation I heard. I got to know him better throughout that, and he's actually a Black history major. He's a history major, so he's very knowledgeable on Black history, very passionate about Black people in general and Black culture. So I thought he'd be a great asset too. And so I'm thankful to have them all helping me with this, because it would have been a lot to do on my own. So yeah, I'm glad with my decisions and who I picked.
For Jean and Sierra, what was it about when she came back and talked about this group that really resonated with you? And then how this has morphed into B.L.U.E.print? What do you see as the most important parts about having a group like this on campus?
Gary, you want to go first? Sierra? Okay, I guess I can say.
Yeah, go. Already.
Okay. For me, I want to say, I was really devastated, honestly. I wasn't able to attend the showcase with Carlina and KC. And the only excuse I was really given was because I had to train for my sport, And it kind of just set up that stereotype, I feel like, for a lot of Black student athletes. It's that, you know, you're recruited because of your athletic ability, you know, but we're not really installing or teaching or developing you guys outside of the athletic realm. So I think it was really great that Carlina and like Sierra really jumped the ball on getting this started, because now we're like helping other athletes realize they're not just here for sports, and they're more than just an athlete. There's so much more than that. They need to build connections with people, like, for their career, for them to grow as individuals. And that for me, like, it just, ever since then, like, I just really, like, gave me a new perspective on, like, what I really think this group could do, if that answers that question.
I would say my passion comes from, I've always been I've always loved Black culture, and, you know, like to understand, like, the different backgrounds, you know, where Black people came from and how, you know, we've sort of kind of progressed over the years. I've just never used my platform to talk about it, because, in a sense, I don't want to have to argue somebody down on why I think my way is right. In a sense, I've never felt like other people would understand where I'm coming from. So when Carl brought this idea to me, and after the George Floyd incident, I just saw a lot more people that I didn't expect or know step up and start talking about things that I was like, okay, well, hey, I have a platform now. Let me utilize it. So when Carl came to me about it, I was just really excited, and I was like, hey, I'm all for
it. Sorry, like you said, Sierra, you have this platform. So, I mean, why is it so important now that you use it?
Like a lot of people say, athletes get the misconception that you're not supposed to have an opinion. You're just supposed to kind of shut up, let the world do what it does, and you just play your sport. And I think that it's important for young kids to understand, like, it doesn't matter. Like, if you're an athlete, a doctor, right is right, in a sense. And if people understand and know, like, hey, she plays a sport, and she still is using her way of, like, she doesn't care. Well, if somebody gets upset, they're probably not gonna want her anymore. She doesn't care about that. She wants people to know where she comes from and where she stands in society, and, like, she's gonna use her platform and her position to speak out against things that are wrong.
And I think another part of that is just right now, student athletes are realizing how much more power that they have, and that we hold more power than we thought we did. So that is just something that I've learned in the creation of the blueprint, and the start of the blueprint, is that we are powerful, more powerful than we think. And so it's just finding a way how to use that power for the right things, and, you know, just not going rogue with it and doing it the wrong way. There's a right way and a wrong way to do everything. And I think this is the way that we wanted to use our power, use our platform. And then it'll also have an effect on the people that come after us as well.
Yeah, and I know the release said that y'all are planning, I believe, every other Tuesday having a meeting. What do those meetings look like in your mind, in any of your minds? What messages, what speakers, what activities, what would a meeting look like, and what do you hope that the fruit that those meetings produce?
Yeah, so we're going to meet every Tuesday of each month. And so these are going to be educational sessions for the members of the Blueprint. So ideally what it's going to be is we're going to have different discussion topics. I know our first one for September is Battle of the Sexes. And so we're going to be talking about the different stereotypes that Black men face in society and that Black women face within society. We're doing a mental health one that we will be partnering with sports psychologists when we're going to do a Know Your Rights that will talk about different, or that will educate Black athletes on their rights and what they are able to do and what they're not able to do when a cop pulls them over. We're going to partner with NAACP. We're going to try and partner with NAACP on campus. So a lot of the topics that we have picked, we were very intentional about picking them. And we thought they were very relevant and topics that a lot of people may think that they know or may feel educated on, but we just want to take it to a different level with it, so that people, the goal of these educational sessions are to educate people, to kind of start conversations that we as Black athletes may not feel comfortable attending a PWI and being surrounded by our all-white teammates or our all-white coaches that may not have any input on the subject just because they don't know and they can't relate. So that's one thing we want, is for people to feel educated, people to feel comfortable, and just kind of like in a setting where they're able to be themselves freely, that they might not be able to be like walking on campus to class or in their sport.
As the university has announced other initiatives with other athletes to talk through conversations of diversity and inclusion, if you look on social media, you look at other places, there's been a lot of people who have been really saying this is a great thing, this is something that's needed, but there has been some dissension on platforms and forums. Do you expect to see some of that as this gets announced and gains some traction? And how important is a group like this when there are dissenting voices out there that are pretty vocal towards student athletes?
Yeah, we definitely expected some kind of negativity with the drop of the blueprint, but I think we are so focused on the future and the plans that we have for the blueprint that we are not even worried about that. We're not even going to let them try and stop us, because we have so many positive and supportive people backing us up. Like, we would be fools to just let a couple ignorant people get in our way. But I feel like a lot of people try and claim that racism isn't real. Racism was in the past, whatever their story is for that. But we, with seeing a lot of people respond back to our posts, back to the video we posted with negative comments, I think that just speaks for itself, and why we need a club like this to show like how racism is still relevant, and how these topics that we need to talk about are need to be talked about, how people still need to get educated on what it's like to be Black in America, what it's like to be a Black athlete in America, what it's like to be a Black athlete at a PWI. So I think that the negativity, while it's negative, while we expected it, we're not going to let it get in the way, because I think it just kind of pushes our goal and pushes our initiative and the mission that we want to achieve. It kind of like gives us just another sense of drive for how we want to impact our student athletes.
Can I add to?
Oh, go ahead, please.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I definitely want to say, like, our whole initiative, like, with the backlash, is very much expected, but the way we are choosing to carry this out and go about it is definitely about unity, about bringing people together. The blueprint was not made specifically and only to exclude every other student athlete and just for Black people. It's about everybody, and the empowerment of Black student athletes, and letting them know that their voices are heard as well. But this club is to unify all student athletes as well. So we're not excluding, we do have more sessions that are going to be geared and exclusive to Black student athletes, because we feel like the message is going to be targeted and can help them in their growth and development in that area. But again, it's not to exclude or to make other people feel as though we are trying to portray a racist ideology that Black lives are the only lives that matter, because that's definitely not the case. But it is definitely important that the Black community feels as though not only that they're a minority, we're 3.2% in our institution, but also that they don't have to just be recognized as just an athlete who isn't really seen as anything else. So.
Yeah. And that actually followed up with one of my other questions are there going to be aspects to this group that are open and involve other allies of different races and ethnic groups that want to be a part and help us move this conversation and move the what y'all are trying to push along to?
Yes, for sure. So while we want it to be an all-inclusive group, we are targeting our Black athletes for the exact reason that Jean said. We are 3% of 100%, and that's like 2,000 people out of 60,000. So we have low numbers in that area. However, we are planning on having a couple of our monthly meetings are going to be all inclusive. So like our, I think the two we picked were Black History, to educate people on our Black history and how way back it goes, and then mental health as well. And we're just going to talk about some of the stigmas that mental health plays in Black people, Black culture, Black families. And then we also have all inclusive, all of our events that we have planned are going to be inclusive. Unfortunately, a lot of them had to be pushed back to spring of 2021 or fall of 2021 because of COVID. However, those will also be inclusive as well, to kind of bring that unity aspect back into it. And because there are allies that want to support, but not all of our allies are able to speak on some of the topics that we will be talking about.
Jess, did you have something else?
I did, but I'm trying to figure out how I want to phrase it or ask it. And I guess two things, like you said, including, your fellow white teammates in these conversations. I feel like at this time, that's kind of maybe why these conversations are happening now, because more people want to understand and figure out how we help and how we fix things. Are you feeling that from your fellow teammates? And then are there any specific times, I know this group is to be able to use your voice more, that you felt like maybe you couldn't use your voice?
Specific times where we felt like we couldn't use our voice?
Yeah, or just like you felt like you didn't speak up for whatever reason, or you felt uncomfortable doing so.
Yeah, I think I have, after, I feel like a lot of people, allies, different allies, may not speak or address their Black friends, because from what I've heard from my teammates and other white friends, non-Black friends, is that they don't know how to address it, or they don't know what to say, they don't want to be offensive. And so I understand that, and I've talked with them about it respectively. And so after that, I've seen a lot of different changes, different tone on the team when it comes to racism and equality and inequality and what's happening in society right now. So I've seen a lot of support from allies and non-Black athletes, some coaches. And I think that I've had a teammate ask me today how she can support the B.L.U.E.print if she's not able to attend meetings, or what it is, whatever the situation is. So I've definitely seen some people reach out and want to be a part of this, even if they're not Black, while also understanding the need for the group. So I think that's important as well. I think in the past, I've had situations where I did not feel comfortable speaking up, just because, like I said before, I didn't understand how much power I had. I feel like I felt like I was just supposed to do my part as a athlete or as a player and play, and then I can keep my opinions to myself and when I go home, I guess. But I would say I feel like I've grown a lot since my freshman year, and I've seen the need and the importance of speaking up and educating people, and how I've learned how to do it respectfully. I've learned how to do it with adults, with kids, and just found different ways to address it so that people aren't feeling attacked, because there's no need to attack someone for not knowing something, that for not being educated on the topic, but rather finding ways that I can address them and educate them so that possibly they can educate somebody else, and just have that chain reaction. Jean's here. I don't know if you guys have anything to say.
That was spot on.
So for my team, as you guys probably already know, we are a majority Black team. We have one European, her name is Anna, and then we have named Ella. We are only within the team. We haven't really had any mates come back about it, because Anna right now is currently in Latvia. So she doesn't quite know everything that's going on in the United States right now. She's more worried about COVID. So from that aspect, things things aren't happening from the team, but in terms of, you know, talking, I'm speaking out about stuff. I mean, I can remember when Sandra was first, you know, they said she hung herself, but I don't quite believe that. But the passing of Sandra Bland, I really wanted to speak out on it, but it was hard for me because I didn't know if anyone else like me, an athlete, or my coaches would kind of clear that, you know, student athletes have so much power. I've always known how much power we've had. It was just finding the group of people who to understand the power and the platform that we have. So that was my biggest thing, is trying to find the people who know, like, we have the power. If we all wanted to say, hey, we're not going to do this, and we did it on a unified front, there's no way anybody could stop us from doing that. You know what I'm saying? Because the coach, you kick all of us off. It's like, okay, you don't have a team anymore. Now you have to go find a new one. That's not very smart. So my thing was just finding the right group of people to understand the power that we have, and then utilizing that power to create some change.
Yeah, last question for me, and go ahead. Sorry.
I was just gonna say, I think another part of that, after listening to Sierra talk on it more, is I think myself and a lot of my other athletes, Black athletes, have grown to be comfortable with making things uncomfortable, or comfortable with bringing up those uncomfortable topics, or addressing whatever is happening, and you know, making someone uncomfortable and realizing, like, oh yeah, I shouldn't have done that, or that was inappropriate, or that comment was racist or out of line, or whatever it is. Because I think it just starts with, I think more people agree with the way we think, but there may not be as vocal about it. So I think that being able to be like that one person who calls somebody out when they mess up, or says a comment, or being that one person to just call them out and make them realize what they've done, then people are like, oh yeah, okay, if Carlina can do it, then like I can go do it as well. Or if she sees that it's wrong, then it probably is wrong, and I'm going to call them out when maybe I'm not even around. So just being okay with having those uncomfortable conversations, and addressing people during uncomfortable times, I think that's important as well.
Of course. And then y'all mentioned being able to understand how much power y'all have as student athletes. I know all three of y'all were very actively involved in the Unity Walk that happened a month or a half ago or so. How much did the success of something like that also reinforce that idea of how much power that y'all have to be able to have a voice and organize? And then also in working with the administration to get that set up, how much did that make y'all feel comfortable, and how much hand in hand did setting that up and setting this up and working with administration go as well?
Yeah, so with that, that was very, like, I don't even know how to explain it. I was so proud of us, and like everything that we did, because we literally put it together within, like, we started on Sunday maybe, and the march was on a Thursday. So we put it in together within 4 or 5 days. And that was as successful as it was. We were not expecting for that many people to come out, that many people to support it, spread it on social media. So that was great to see. And then also, like, seeing all the staff that came out, that was very, very surprising, because I thought it was going to be more athletes or more just regular citizens and students that came out, rather than staff. And so seeing Ross in the crowd, all of our some of our senior staff and other coordinators, that was great to see. And then also, like, having to work hand in hand with them, they did not make things hard for us at all, and they were very supportive of us throughout the whole way. And so just having their support and the Unity March just made me more excited for when we would eventually present the blueprint to them. And you know, it just kind of pushed them, like, put them on the right foot in our heads, and what we had to think about them, because, you know, we don't really interact with Ross that much, and except for when he comes and talks to us, I guess. But yeah, I feel very proud to have him behind us, have Kristen behind us. I didn't expect anything less from them after working with them from the Unity March. So yeah, that was great support from them as well.
Oh, I want to say, like, I remember whenever the protesting was first going on, I like personally, like I don't drive or anything. So like I know some of my friends were going out of town, like to Houston or Austin, you know, protesting. And I was a little uncomfortable with that because of COVID. But I was just thinking, I was like, you know, like there's all this talk of like all this movement and change, and I see some people like along some of the roads like protesting and saying different things. So like why don't we like take the initiative of like student athletes and like what can we do to make a difference? I remember just even with the different discussions we were having in forums with students, everyone was kind of like, you know, finally opening up and having those uncomfortable conversations. And then like whenever me, Carolina, and Sierra, and I guess some of the other student athletes that we worked with, people were saying they really wanted to see a change and stuff like that. The Unity Walk kind of just, it personally gave me a confidence booster because I was like, I kind of felt like nervous speaking up about this. I kind of brought it up to some of my teammates originally as a few people, but after a little while, I was personally scared. I was like, you know, I don't really know if this is gonna come through or if people are just gonna walk all over me and kind of tell me again, you know, kind of like, you know, this is already getting a lot of attention. We don't need to keep the momentum going because you guys are doing a lot. But after all the support we were getting from the administration with the forums, it sounded like a lot of people wanted us to like use our platform and our voice more. And like after the Unity Walk, the success with that, it just made launching B.L.U.E.print and gave me personally more confidence to feel my role as a leader and help with this project and initiative as well.
That's great. And then I guess one more too. How, or I guess a two-parter. Going along with that, finding your voice and how powerful it is. How also much did seeing the NBA come back with Black Lives Matter on the court, and how much pro athletes have embraced their voice as well, gave y'all power to have your voice. A, and B, what was the timetable? I know you mentioned coming back from this conference and talking with people and get this, but kind of what was the time frame of getting this to where it is today as a full-blown organization?
So I'll do the first one first. But the seeing the athletes, seeing professional athletes being able to support like a movement like this on their jerseys, that was just crazy to see, I think, because we all know the story of Colin Kaepernick and what he went through, and when he decided to speak up and protest, and just the movement he started. So just to see like kind of how far we've came since then, I think that's very inspiring. And then also they just passed a rule in NCAA saying that we are able to do the same thing. So once we figure out like what we want to put on our jerseys and kind of get that more organized, I think that'll be awesome to see. And then in terms of the timetable for the B.L.U.E.print, so I think the summit that we went to was before classes had even started in January. I think it was that weekend before. That day we came back from break. That first week we came back from break is when Nisha and I started working on it and talking about the process of finding officers, making a proposal. We had to make so many different drafts of the proposal and like making a budget, what events we want to have, just planning everything out. That's the first thing we did. So it's been like 8-month process since then. And so it's been a long time. We've had a lot of Zoom calls and a lot of documents being emailed back and forth and revisions and edits and everything. So we've really put in the work to get where we are today with the B.L.U.E.print, and just being able to actually kind of put all of our thoughts from paper into action. We're very excited about that.
And what was the name of the summit again? The like official name?
It was a mental health Black student athlete summit through UT. It was through the University of Texas, and they do it every year.
Very cool. That's all I had. Jess, are you good?
Yeah, I'm good too.
Well, thank y'all so much for giving us some of your time, and I applaud y'all's hustle and effort.
Thank you.
I appreciate it too.
Thanks,
Thank you,
San
guys.
Diego.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.